Hi, welcome to Monterey's Cooking. I'm Cookin Pisto. Today I thought we'd start off the show by showing you some of the beautiful old adobes that are scattered throughout old Monterey. And they're just beautiful. And they have these incredible gardens, and they're just absolutely gorgeous. There's many of them here in Monterey. There's tours you can take around the town and walk and actually visit them, quite a few of them in one day. This is one of my favorites because, I used to walk by here a couple times a day for years. We lived just up the street. And this is the Pacific House, and it has probably one of the most beautiful gardens of all of them. And I'd really like to show you. They got a fantastic barbecue. It's my kind of barbecue. And actually, I did a function here a couple of times. But the gardens are very interesting. Let's go inside and I'll show you around. Say hello to David Whitrock. Hi, David.
Good morning, John.
Thank you for taking time for us today.
It's a pleasure.
These homes have always held a real special interest for me because I just love the era when these were constructed.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about it, the year it was constructed.
Well, this one has had a wonderful history. Thomas Larkin, who had come out here in 1830, basically as a failure. By 1847, he was a prominent businessman in town. He had been he was the consul to Mexican California and was a confidential agent for President Polk. And he was trying to bring California into the Union peacefully. Well, 1846, when the Mexican-American War started, that was not going to work. So when Monterey was captured in 1846, Larkin, who was a very successful businessman, said, what's the military need? Well, what do they always need? They need barracks, they need food supplies, they need warehousing, and so he built this. And in 1847, he sold it a year later to a man, and I've always wondered, he didn't have a good sense of timing when he was a young man, but he sold this the year that Monterey emptied and everybody went up to the gold country in 1849. But the style of the building is Monterey colonial, as he did on his building.
Gorgeous. Yeah. It has a feeling of Spain, of Mexico, the plazas, the private courtyard.
Part of it is the garden.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous.
The garden actually was a product of 1927. That was the two sons of Frederick Olmsted, who designed New York Central Park. And what he did was to create this garden at their request. It's like a plant zoo. There are all kinds of things that are just interesting, like these magnolias.
Beautiful magnolias.
Yeah.
Well, I know you over the course of the year you hold some functions here.
You do?
I know I've cooked for one or two of them myself, and even done a wedding in here. But this is the big party once a year for the big barbecue, and they fire. Look at the size of that barbecue over here.
Isn't that a great one?
That's my kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I know it's open for weddings.
It is. State Park rents this out, and in fact, they have weddings and parties from the local hotels that come in and cater. The state parks also has thank yous sometimes for the volunteers. That State Parks runs on volunteers. We couldn't do it without them.
Really?
And the annual Merienda for the Monterey History and Art Association. That's a big
That's
deal.
a nice affair. I've cooked for that. I know you set up a whole stage here. There's dancing and flamingo dancing and all kinds of neat stuff, and of course steaks and real steaks and beans and tortillas.
It just occurred to me that with the bull and bear fights, is the meat that you'd get out of that, would that be anything like a surf and turf?
Probably the original, huh?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, actually over there in the corner where they had pits that they would bring in a bear and bring in bull.
Really?
Chain their hind legs together and let them fight to the death.
Holy
It was one way of, they were a wagering kind of a people.
Still are.
And still are. The admission was 25 cents.
Is in that area over
Yeah,
there?
it was in that area over there.
Wow, amazing, huh? Well, David, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome, John.
Talking about all this beef, I'm getting hungry, folks. I think we're going to mosey up to the kitchen and see if we can't cook something.
There you go.
Thanks again, man.
You're welcome.
Okay. That guide was so good. I mean, wasn't he interesting? You know, I did a little research after, and you know the bull and the bear fights they did in the corner of that place? Well, I did a little digging around, and there's a stew that they made, and it can be either the bull or the bear. So, you know, I went out and found some local ingredients, and of course, you know what these are. I mean, these are found locally. I had to get these in Santa Cruz, so Monterey doesn't have. They're just on the other side of the border, real close. And these are some dried ones. And I thought we'd make a bull and bear stew that they used to make in the old days. So, get some nice meat chopped up. All right? Now, the beauty of this is that you can start this the day before. So I think this is when you want to really eat good, you know, real special. I do this dish because the secret of this one is putting in the wine and letting it marinate overnight. You have to do that, otherwise this doesn't work. Okay. So you see, I put a lot of onion, and I'm putting the garlic in whole on this guy. Okay. Now let's get these guys marinating. We're going to use these twice. I'm going to put some dried ones in. And we're going to be using some of this. Now this is Ventana's, it's a Monterey Rosé. They tell me this is a mixture of Merlot and Chard. And it's not sweet. The thing I dislike about our Rosés here is they're so sweet all the time. This one is not sweet, it's dry. Let's give that a little salt. Okay, get that out of the way for now. This goes here. Okay, now, the thing with this one is you put everything in here now. All right? All the vegetables, because they have to marinate too. Now, I found a packing slip that said they have parsnips, so we'll put parsnips. Fresh carrots right out of the garden. I only buy these kind of carrots from now on, folks. You know why? Taste the difference. They're incredible. Absolutely incredible. Nice big chunks. All right. Pretty easy. Okay. Leeks. We know they had leeks here. They had leeks all over the place. And the thing is, we still have leeks. Celery. Okay. A piece of orange peel. You know they grew oranges. Turnips is a staple. In those days, everybody had turnips. All right, now we're going to get this wine. And we're going to fill it up. And then if you run out of that, use some of the other one. Now this is quite similar to a boeuf bourguignon in that you marinate the beef overnight. Okay, fresh peas. You can use frozen, but they had them at the market, so I used them. Okay, we got that, we got that, we got that. We got the salt, the thyme. This is a great herb for this. This already feels like winter. And then we got to put a little crushed black pepper. Don't forget to put the mushrooms in. Okay. Nice, marinated. Make sure you throw the liquid in. Now, if you buy mushrooms in the store, you got to be careful. Sometimes they're still sandy. Now, I did these myself, so you know I cleaned all the dirt off. So when I pour everything in. But when you use the store-bought, look at about the last third, and you'll see it's real granular stuff in there. That's sand. Don't put it in, because it's not good when you bite down on it. Now we're going to let this marinate in the refrigerator for 24 hours. And of course, we're using this beautiful wine from Ventana. Okay, folks, then I want you to pull the meat out. All right? And I want you to dry it. And I know this is kind of a little extra step, but you'll see at the end what this does to this dish. And I got a couple other nice little things we're going to do to this. Okay, just take the meat out. In the meantime, get a good heavy frying pan going. It's okay to dig in there. Okay, that's good. Now we want to dry these off a bit because I want these to get brown. Now to make sure it gets brown, we're going to use butter. Now if you don't want to use butter, you can use olive oil. That's okay. But butter really gives this an incredible flavor. Okay. So you just dry them off like that. These are nice big chunks of, like I said, you could use bull or you could use bear. Get it nice and hot. You know, we tried this dish before, and I know when we go to Provence, this is what we eat all the time. They usually serve this with raviolis, but we're going to serve it with the polenta. And very good. Okay, you want this oil to get really, really hot. Okay, that's what you want to hear, that sizzle. And have your other pot ready, because from there it's going to go into this other pot. Don't put too many in. All right, let's give it a little salt. Pepper it up real good. Okay, dry it real well. Very important, because it's been sitting in that marinade and it gets a little waterlogged. Can you put flour on it? I know some cooks are asking themselves that right now. No. Because this has to cook for a long time, I would not put flour on it. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a glob of glue. This is going to cook. These are my long cooking dishes. You know, I've always done stuff that's real quick and, you know, a minute, as they say in the trade. And these are going to be taking a little extra time. Okay, this has to brown. Let's put the other guy in there now. And you make sure, very, very important, that you use an extra heavy duty frying pan. I mean, this is a frying pan. Cast iron would be great. Very important. Okay? Okay, this is going to take a few minutes. Okay, you see how nice this is cooking up? Now, if it gets you need a little bit more butter, don't be afraid, folks. Add a little bit more, see? Now, see how that's nice and brown? This actually is very important to this dish in that it gives it a way different flavor. You can go half olive oil and half butter too if you want. Now this is chuck that I'm using. Or excuse me, bear. Yeah, this is a real California dish. Authentic. Salt, pepper on the other side. And I know they used to use whiskey. I know they used to drink whiskey. So we're going to flame it off with a little bit of whiskey. Stand back when you do this. Be very, very careful. Whoa. Okay, let it burn off. Okay, right into the pot. Okay, now The next thing we got to do is we're going to saute some of these vegetables. All right. So put them in a colander. This is my Italian colander. All I want to do is soften it up a bit, that's all. Okay, this takes maybe 10-15 minutes. Just want to soften them. Okay, a little bit of this, maybe another chunk of butter. See, there's not much fat in this, you know, because that's pretty lean meat. Okay, this is going to take maybe 15 minutes, all right? Okay, you see I browned this up a bit. Okay, now we're going to add about 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. And I want to just cook that a bit. Whoop. Okay. Done. Now, all that beautiful marinade goes right in there, like that. Now let's stir this around. Get this guy out of the way. Now let's break that up just a little bit. How's that look so far, folks? That look good? Now bring that level up. Bring that up to about there. All right, so I've used 2 quarts of wine here, or 2/5 of wine. Okay, now you bring this to a boil, and then you put it on very low, okay? Medium, I would say medium low. You put the cover on it, you put it on the back burner, and you stir this maybe every half an hour for a good 2.5 hours, okay? And when we come back, we're gonna finish this dish off. Okay, now let us put this magnificent dish together for you. I can't wait to try the wines with this meal. Okay, polenta. Let's make a little hole in the middle. All right, look at that. Look at that meat is tender. I tell you, you can't find bear meat like this anymore. I tell you, it's harder and harder to find this stuff. Look at this. That look good? Looks good to me. Oh, you got all that wine that's cooked in. This is all wine. These big fat slices of porcini. Look at that. So everybody gets a little polenta. They get some porcini. And we're in heaven here, folks. This is magnificent. All this good juice. Now, all we got to do is have some wine with this. What do you think, Luann?
Oh, it looks beautiful.
Not bad.
Oh, it smells so good.
The best bear meat I've seen in a long time.
Best bear meat. Oh.
Well, you know, we're doing this new thing where we're breaking the rules. So we're combining different wines with foods, and we made or Luann made a decision to try the Cabernet Franc.
The Cabernet Franc
which
with
is
it.
a red grape, of course. And your rosé.
And our Monterey Rosé, which is 50% Chardonnay and 50% Merlot.
Okay. So let's pour and see. And this is a dry one, right? It's not that sweet.
It has a touch of sweetness to it, but mostly dry.
All right. So what we want to try to do is marry the right flavor. Give you a piece here where you don't have to cut it all up.
While you were cooking this, the smells in the kitchen were just fabulous.
Isn't
John.
it amazing? Oh. I mean, that wine from, you know, it's cooked, it's marinated for 24 hours.
Thank you.
And then we cook it down and we leave the lid on. That's the main thing, so you don't lose any of the juice, see? It stays right with everything. Okay, let's see what we got. Polenta might be hot.
I never thought of stew with the polenta like that. It's just fabulous. Really tasty.
Wow. I think the rosé is very, very good. I mean, incredible.
You're trying the rosé first,
Yep.
huh?
Well, I'll try this one now.
Okay.
That's a tough call.
I think with the combination of the Merlot and the Chardonnay, with the flavors in here, really the little
tell
touch
you.
of sweetness against this is really
But I think the rosé
nice
is
flavors.
delicious. But you know, the Cab Franc is incredible too. Well,
I think either one.
now you have a website,
Yes.
which is,
VentanaWines.com.
okay, and you are one of the owners,
Yes, my husband and I.
Doug, okay, and these wines are available in fine restaurants all over the United States.
Yes.
Okay, and in good retail outlets.
Fine retail shops you'll
Okay.
find us. And
Good. Do you have a wine club?
yes, we do.
Okay, very important. Those are very popular now. I know people like to join these wine clubs from these wineries and get wine once a month or however you set it up.
They can find out more information on that on the website.
Okay, again, that's Ventana.
VentanaWines.com.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, John.
Okay, you're welcome. Folks, we're going to continue to eat. Everyone is starving. And, Luann, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, see you next time.